The ship Taeguk moved slowly through empty space. Captain Lee Minho stood on the bridge watching the stars through the big window. His hands were sweaty. Today humans would meet aliens for the first time. "Captain, we are getting close to their space," said his pilot. The young woman's voice was steady, but Minho could see she was nervous too. Dr. Park Ji-woo walked up to the captain. He was a tall man with kind eyes. "The alien messages say they want to meet us at a place called Nexus Prime. It's their main planet." Ambassador Kim Sora joined them. She wore her best blue uniform. "Remember, we represent all of Earth. We must be careful with our words." The Taeguk had been traveling for 3 months. Earth had built this ship after scientists found a way to travel faster than light. The first thing they heard were radio signals from space. Aliens were real, and they wanted to talk. As they got closer to Nexus Prime, more alien ships appeared around them. These ships looked very different from human ships. Some were long and thin like needles. Others were round like balls. One ship looked like it was made of pure light. "Captain, they are asking us to follow them," said the communications officer. Minho nodded. "Do as they say. We are guests here." The alien ships led them to a huge space station orbiting a blue planet. The station was bigger than any city on Earth. It had many different sections, each one built in a different style. "Look at that," whispered Dr. Park Ji-woo. "Each section must be for a different alien race." A voice came through their radio. It spoke perfect English, but it sounded strange. "Human ship Taeguk, welcome to Nexus Prime. Please dock at Section 12. Our leaders want to meet you." The docking was smooth. As soon as the Taeguk connected to the station, Captain Minho felt something strange. The air felt different. It was like the feeling before a thunderstorm. 3 aliens waited for them at the airlock. The first one was very tall and looked like a lizard that walked on 2 legs. Its skin was green and covered in small scales. This was High Counselor Thais. The second alien was harder to see. It looked like a person made of blue energy. Sometimes it was solid, sometimes it was like smoke. This was Scientist Kel. The third alien looked like a giant insect. It had 4 arms and big compound eyes. It made clicking sounds when it moved. "Welcome, humans," said High Counselor Thais. Its voice was deep and old. "I am Thais, leader of the Galactic Council. We have waited long to meet your species." Ambassador Kim Sora stepped forward. "Thank you for inviting us. I am Kim Sora, speaking for all humans on Earth." "You must understand," said Thais. "All new species must be tested before they can join the Council. This is for everyone's safety." Dr. Park Ji-woo felt worried. "What kind of tests?" Scientist Kel floated closer. When it spoke, its voice sounded like wind chimes. "Simple tests. We check your minds, your bodies, your technology. Standard procedure." They walked through the station. The halls were huge, built for many different types of aliens. Some aliens flew through the air. Others walked on 6 legs. One group looked like walking trees. "How many species are in the Council?" asked Captain Minho. 12 main species, said Thais. "We have kept peace in the galaxy for 10,000 years. They entered a large room filled with strange machines. Lights blinked on and off. Screens showed numbers and symbols that the humans could not read. "Please sit here," said Scientist Kel. It pointed to chairs that looked like they were made for humans. "We will scan your minds first. It will not hurt." Dr. Park Ji-woo sat down first. He wanted to show it was safe. As soon as he sat down, a soft blue light surrounded his head. "Think of something peaceful," said Kel. "Something that makes you happy." Ji-woo thought of his daughter back on Earth. She was only 5 years old. He remembered her playing in their garden, chasing butterflies. In his mind, he could see her laughing as a yellow butterfly landed on her nose. Suddenly, something impossible happened. A small butterfly appeared in the air above Ji-woo's head. It was made of light, but it looked real. It flapped its wings and flew in a circle. All the aliens stepped back. The machine started making loud noises. "Red lights flashed everywhere. What is happening?" asked Ambassador Kim Sora. Scientist Kel was floating very fast around the room. "Impossible! The energy readings are off the charts." High Counselor Thais stared at the light butterfly. "How did you do that?" Dr. Park Ji-woo looked up at the butterfly. He was as surprised as everyone else. "I don't know. I was just thinking about my daughter." The butterfly faded away, but the machines kept making noise. "Turn off the alarms," ordered Thais. The room became quiet, but everyone was still staring at Ji-woo. Captain Minho stepped closer to his friend. Jiwoo, are you okay? I feel fine, said Jiwoo. I don't understand what happened. Scientist Kel floated over to its machines. It read the screens with its energy form fingers. The readings show that reality itself changed for a moment. The human created something from nothing. That is impossible, said Thais. In 10,000 years we have never seen this. Ambassador Kim Sora tried to stay calm. Perhaps your machines made an error. Our machines do not make errors, said Thais. Its voice was cold now. We must test all of you. One by one, the other humans sat in the chair. Each time something strange happened. Captain Minho made a small flower appear. The communications officer created a tiny star that glowed in her hands. Even Ambassador Kim Sora, who tried very hard to think of nothing, made a small bird of light that flew around the room. After all the tests, the aliens moved to the far side of the room. They spoke in their own languages. The humans could hear them, but could not understand the words. However, the tone was clear. The aliens were scared. High Counselor Thys came back to the humans. We must speak with our council. You will stay here as our guests while we decide what to do. Decide what to do? Asked Captain Minho. We came here in peace. Yes, but you are not like other species. You can change reality with your thoughts. This has never been seen before. That night, the humans stayed in comfortable rooms on the space station. They could not sleep. Through their windows, they could see alien ships moving around the station. More ships arrived every hour. Dr. Park Jiwoo sat by his window, looking at the stars. He tried to make another butterfly, but nothing happened. He wondered if his daughter was looking at the same stars from Earth. In another room, Captain Minho talked quietly with Ambassador Kim Sora. I think we are in trouble, he said. Kim Sora nodded. They are afraid of us. Fear makes people do dangerous things. But we don't even know how we did it, said Minho. How can we be dangerous if we can't control it? Neither of them had an answer. Outside, more alien ships arrived at Nexus Prime. The galaxy was waking up to learn about the strange new species called humans, the species that could bend reality with their minds. The next morning, High Counselor Thys came to the humans with more aliens. The new aliens looked different from the ones they had met before. One looked like a giant insect with 4 arms. Another was covered in fur and walked on 4 legs like a wolf. These are representatives from other council species, said Thys. They want to see your abilities for themselves. The insect alien stepped forward. It made clicking sounds when it talked. I am Delegate Zeph of the Nexari people. We do not believe what we heard about you humans. Ambassador Kim Sora stood up straight. We told you the truth. We don't understand these abilities either. Then you will not mind more tests, said the wolf-like alien. Its voice was a growl. They were taken to a bigger room with more machines. This time, the aliens brought broken things for the humans to look at. Engineer Choi De-sung was called forward. He was a quiet man who fixed things on the ship. What do you want me to do? Scientist Kel pointed to a pile of broken alien technology. These machines are damaged. Try to repair them. De-sung picked up what looked like a broken computer. It was made of metal he had never seen before. Strange symbols covered its surface. I don't know how this works. Just try, said Thisa. De-sung held the device and closed his eyes. He thought about how machines should work. He imagined the broken parts becoming whole again. He wanted it to be fixed. The device began to glow. The broken pieces moved by themselves, fitting back together. Within seconds, the machine was working perfectly. All the aliens made surprised sounds. Delegate Zeph clicked loudly. How did he know our technology? I didn't, said De-sung. I just wanted it to work. They brought Security Chief Ohieri forward next. She was a strong woman who had been a soldier before joining the ship's crew. We will test combat situations, said the wolf alien. They put Hieri in a small room with training robots. The robots were programmed to attack, but not to really hurt anyone. As soon as they started moving toward her, Hieri felt afraid. Without thinking, she put her hands up to protect herself. A wall of blue light appeared in front of her. The robots ran into the wall and bounced off. I didn't mean to do that, said Hieri. The light wall disappeared. It again, demanded the wolf alien. I don't know how, said Hieri. Dr. Park Jiwoo had been watching everything. He was starting to understand something important. It happens when we feel strong emotions, when we really want something or when we're scared. Scientist Kel floated over to its machines. The energy patterns are the same each time, but they don't follow any known laws of physics. For 3 days, the aliens tested every human on the ship. The ship's cook made food appear from nothing when he was homesick. The pilot created a small rainstorm when she missed the rain on Earth. Even the captain's assistant made a tiny tree grow when she thought about her grandmother's garden. Each test made the aliens more worried. On the 4th day, High Counselor Theiss called a meeting with all the alien representatives. The humans were not invited, but Dr. Park Ji-woo found a way to listen through the ship's communication system. "This is unprecedented," said Theiss. "In all our history, no species has shown the ability to alter reality through thought alone." "They are dangerous," growled the wolf alien. "What if they decide to change our worlds? What if they make our species disappear?" Delegate Zeph made clicking sounds, but they seem peaceful. "They say they cannot control these abilities. That makes them more dangerous, not less," said another alien voice. "Uncontrolled power is the most dangerous kind." Scientist Kell's wind chime voice joined the discussion. "I have been studying their energy patterns. Their minds work differently than ours. Where we evolve to understand and adapt to reality, they seem to have evolved to change reality to fit their needs. That explains much about their home planet," said a new voice. "Earth is a world of constant change. Ice ages, volcanoes, asteroid impacts. Perhaps they developed this ability to survive. It doesn't matter why they have it," said the wolf alien. "The question is what we do about it." "We could teach them to control it," suggested Delegate Zeph. "Or we could make sure they never get the chance to use it," said the wolf alien. There was silence for a long moment. Finally, Theiss spoke. "The council will vote tomorrow. Until then, the humans will remain here under guard." That night, Captain Minho called his crew together in their shared room. He told them what Dr. Park Ji-woo had overheard. "Some of them want to help us," said Ambassador Kim Sora, "but others see us as a threat." "Can we escape?" asked Security Chief Ohieri. Captain Minho shook his head. "We are surrounded by alien ships. Even if we could get to our ship, we would never make it back to Earth." Engineer Choi Dae-sung was sitting quietly in the corner. "Maybe we don't need to escape. Maybe we need to show them we're not dangerous." "How?" asked Dr. Park Ji-woo. "By learning to control these abilities ourselves," said Dae-sung. "If we can show them we're not going to accidentally destroy things, maybe they won't be so afraid." The humans spent the night trying to understand their strange powers. They discovered that strong emotions made the abilities stronger. Fear, love, anger, and joy all seemed to make reality bending easier. Dr. Park Ji-woo found he could make small animals of light when he thought about his family. Captain Minho could create flowers when he remembered his home. Ambassador Kim Sora learned to make tiny stars when she felt hopeful about the future. But they also found that the abilities were tiring. After using them for a while, they felt exhausted. "It's like using muscles we didn't know we had," said Hieri. The next morning, they heard loud alarms throughout the station. Through their windows, they could see many more alien ships arriving. Some of the ships were huge and looked like they were built for war. High Counselor Theiss came to their room with many guards. "The council has voted," said Theiss. "You humans will be taken to a special facility, where you can be studied safely." "That sounds like a prison," said Captain Minho. "It is for the safety of the galaxy," said Theiss. "Your abilities are too dangerous to leave unchecked, Ambassador." Kim Sora stepped forward. "What about our ship? Our crew families back on Earth are waiting for SAS. Earth will be informed that you are being held for protective custody," said Theiss. "No more human ships will be allowed to leave your solar system." "You're going to trap all of humanity on Earth?" asked Dr. Park Ji-woo. "Until we understand your abilities and find a way to control them, yes." As the guards moved to take them away, Engineer Choi Dae-sung felt a surge of anger. The lights in the room began to flicker. The metal walls started to vibrate. "Control yourself," shouted Theiss. Dae-sung took deep breaths and calmed down. "The lights stopped flickering, see?" said Theiss. "You cannot control your emotions, so you cannot control your power. This proves we are right to contain you." As they were led away to a transport ship, Dr. Park Ji-woo looked back at the Taeguk. He wondered if they would ever see Earth again. He also wondered what would happen when Earth learned that humanity was now considered too dangerous for the galaxy. Through the transport ship's window, he could see more warships arriving at Nexus Prime. It seemed the aliens were preparing for something big. He had a bad feeling that this was just the beginning of humanity's troubles. 3 weeks later on Earth, Admiral Yoon Tae-hyun stood in the command center of the Earth Defense Force. Red warning lights flashed across all the screens. The news from space was not good. "Admiral, we just received another message from the Alien Council," said his assistant. "They demand that all humans surrender themselves for protective custody." Admiral Yoon was an older man with gray hair and tired eyes. He had been a soldier for 40 years. "What does that mean exactly?" Dr. Kang Minji, Earth's top scientist, looked up from her computer. "Based on their previous messages, they want to put all of humanity in special facilities. They say it's for everyone's safety." "That sounds like prison camps," said the Admiral. "What's our response?" "The President has already given them our answer," said his assistant. "No." Through the big windows of the command center, they could see Earth's space defense ships moving into position. They were not as advanced as the alien ships, but they were all humanity had. "Any word from Captain Lee Minho and his crew?" asked Admiral Yoon. "Nothing for 3 weeks," said Dr. Kang Minji. "We have to assume they are being held prisoner." On the far side of the solar system, alien ships began to appear. They came through bright flashes of light that hurt to look at. More ships arrived every hour. "They're setting up a blockade," reported the communications officer. "No ships in or out of our solar system." Dr. Kang Minji had been working day and night to understand the reports about human abilities. "Admiral, I think I'm beginning to understand what happened to our people." "Explain it to me in simple terms," he said, Admiral Yoon. "Reality isn't as solid as we thought. At the smallest level, everything is just energy and probability. It seems humans can somehow affect these probabilities with our minds." "You mean we can really bend reality?" "In small ways, yes. But it takes a lot of energy and depends on our emotional state. We're not gods, but we can do things that should be impossible. Can we weaponize it?" Dr. Kang Minji shook her head. "I don't think so. From what I've read in the reports, it seems to work best when people are trying to help or protect, not when they're trying to hurt." Meanwhile, far from Earth, Captain Lee Minho and his crew were being held in a facility on a cold gray planet. The buildings were made of metal and stone. Guard towers surrounded everything. It looked exactly like a prison. But they were not the only prisoners. The aliens had brought humans from all over Earth's colonies. Scientists, explorers, even some tourists who had been traveling in space when this all started. "How many of us are here?" asked Dr. Park Ji-woo. "About 200, said another prisoner, a woman named Lee Sun-hee who had been a colony administrator. "They keep bringing more every day." The aliens had been running tests on all the humans. They wanted to understand how the reality bending worked. But something strange was happening. The more they tested the humans, the stronger the abilities became. Engineer Choi Disung had learned to fix almost anything just by touching it. Security Chief Oh Hyeri could create force shields that could stop energy blasts. Other humans were developing new abilities. Young pilot Bae Ji-hoon, who was only 22 years old, seemed to have the strongest abilities of all. He could make things move without touching them. He could even make small changes to gravity in a small area around himself. "We need to escape," said Captain Minho during one of their secret meetings. "Where would we go?" asked Ambassador Kim Sora. "We're surrounded by alien ships and we're not even in our own solar system." "We have to try," said Dr. Park Ji-woo. "Earth needs to know what's happening here." Their chance came during a massive thunderstorm. The prison's power systems were having problems because of the lightning. The force fields that kept them locked up flickered on and off. "Now!" shouted Captain Minho. The humans ran toward the landing pad where their transport ships were kept. But the alien guards were ready for them. Lights turned on everywhere. Alarm sounds filled the air. The guards started shooting energy weapons at them. The blast could stun or kill. Security Chief Oh Hyeri put up her force shields to protect the group. But there were too many guards. That's when pilot Bae Ji-hoon's fear and anger took over. He didn't mean to do what happened next. As the energy blasts came toward him, he wished desperately that they would just stop. Reality listened to his wish. Time seemed to slow down around Bae Ji-hoon. The energy blasts moved slower and slower until they stopped completely in midair. The rain stopped falling. The lightning froze in the sky. In the bubble of stop time around him, Ji-hoon could move normally. He walked between the frozen energy blasts and frozen guards. He reached the controls for the force fields and shut them off. Then, As suddenly as it had started, time returned to normal. The energy blast continued moving, but now they hit empty air where the humans had been standing. "What did you do?" asked Captain Minho as they ran to their ships. "I don't know," said Jihoon. "I just wanted everything to stop." They managed to reach one of the transport ships and escape before the aliens could reorganize. But as they flew away from the prison planet, they could see the massive alien fleet that was surrounding the area. "There are thousands of ships," said Dr. Park. "Ji Woo. And they're all heading toward Earth," added Ambassador Kim Soradot back on Earth. The first alien attacks began 3 days later. But the aliens got a surprise. When their weapons threatened human cities, ordinary people began manifesting reality-bending abilities. A mother in Seoul whose children were in danger created a dome of energy that protected her entire neighborhood. A farmer in Iowa made the alien weapons turn into flowers when they tried to destroy his crops. A teacher in Lagos made a shield of light that covered her entire school. Admiral Yoon Tae-hyun watched the reports coming in from around the world. It's happening everywhere. Regular people, not just trained soldiers, are stopping the alien attacks. Dr. Kang Minji looked at the data on her screens. The emotional stress is triggering the abilities in people who never knew they had them. Fear for their families, love of their homes, anger at being attacked. "Are we winning?" asked the Admiral. "We're not losing," said Dr. Kang Minji. "But this is just the first wave. The aliens have much bigger ships and more powerful weapons." On his flagship at the edge of the solar system, War Prime Gren of the Korthak military species was furious. His people were warriors who had conquered dozens of worlds, but they had never faced an enemy that could change the laws of physics. "Sir, our weapons are being turned into harmless light shows," reported his officer. "Our ship's engines are being made to malfunction by human thoughts." "This is impossible," growled Gren. "Reality does not work this way." High Counselor Theiss appeared on his communication screen. "War Prime, you must stop the attacks immediately." "Why?" "We can still overwhelm them with numbers." "Because they are getting stronger. Every time we attack them, more humans develop abilities. We are creating the very thing we fear." But Gren was too angry to listen. "Then we will use the ancient weapons. The reality stabilizers from the old wars." "Those weapons are forbidden," said Theiss. "They could destroy entire star systems." "Better that than letting these reality benders spread across the galaxy," said Gren. As the War Prime ended the communication, Theiss realized that the situation was about to become much worse. The ancient weapons Gren spoke of had not been used for thousands of years. They were designed to lock reality in place, preventing any changes to the laws of physics. But using them was incredibly dangerous. If something went wrong, they could tear apart the fabric of space itself. On Earth, Dr. Kang Minji was starting to understand something important about human abilities. They seemed to work best when humans were trying to protect something they loved. The abilities grew stronger when used for defense rather than attack. "Admiral," she said, "I think I know why we evolved these powers." "Why?" "Earth is a dangerous planet. Ice ages, asteroids, volcanic eruptions, climate changes. Normal evolution might not have been enough to survive all that. Maybe we developed the ability to bend reality as a species survival trait. So we're naturally built to adapt to impossible situations?" "Exactly. And now we're in the most impossible situation of all." Above Earth, more alien ships gathered, but now the humans knew they had abilities. They were no longer surprised or helpless. Across the planet, people were learning to work together, combining their reality-bending powers to create stronger defenses. The war was just beginning, but humanity was no longer afraid. They were angry, and that was making them very dangerous. The war had been going on for 6 months. General Nam Soo-young stood in the war room, looking at maps of 3 star systems where humans and aliens were fighting. She was tired but determined. "What's the status report?" she asked her aide. "We're holding our ground in all 3 sectors," said the young officer. "But the aliens keep bringing more ships." At training centers across Earth, researcher Lee Junwoo was teaching people how to control their new abilities. The first generation of trained reality guards was much better than the untrained civilians who had fought in the early battles. "Remember," Lee Junwoo told his students, "emotion gives you power, but control gives you precision. Think clearly about what you want to achieve." One of his best students was a young woman who could make healing energy with her hands. Another could create solid walls of light that were stronger than steel. A third could make broken machines work again just by touching them. But the most powerful of all was still pilot Bai Ji-hoon. He had been rescued from the alien prison and brought back to Earth. Now he led teams of reality guards in the most dangerous missions. "Ji-hoon, your team will protect the colony on Kepler Station," said General Nam. "Intelligence says the aliens are planning a major attack there." "Understood, General," said Ji-hoon. At 22, he was young to be leading military operations, but his abilities were too valuable to waste. While the humans were learning to fight, something important was happening in alien space. An ancient being called Elder Nixtari had awakened from a sleep that lasted thousands of years. Elder Nixtari was older than any other being in the galaxy. She had been alive during the time the Council called the First Chaos, a period when many species had reality-bending powers. Captain Shin Yunji had volunteered for the most dangerous mission of the war. She would take a small, fast ship behind enemy lines to try to contact moderate aliens who might want peace. "This is crazy," said her co-pilot as their ship dodged alien patrols. "If they catch us, we'll be prisoners again." "We have to try," said Captain Shin. "This war will destroy both sides if it continues." They managed to reach Nexus Prime, where Elder Nixtari had called for a secret meeting. The ancient being looked like a tall, thin person made of silver light. When she spoke, her voice sounded like music. "Young humans," said Elder Nixtari, "you do not understand the danger you face." "We understand the aliens want to destroy us," said Captain Shin. "No, child. You do not understand the danger of your own powers." Elder Nixtari showed them images of the ancient past. Billions of years ago, many species had reality-bending abilities. Wars were fought not with ships and weapons, but by changing the laws of physics themselves. Stars were turned into ice. Planets were moved from their orbits. Time itself was twisted into knots. The galaxy nearly died from the chaos. Captain Shin looked at the terrible images. What happened to those species? Most destroyed themselves. Others gave up their powers to survive. A few evolved beyond the need for physical reality, but all learned the same lesson. Reality-bending power without wisdom leads to destruction. "Then why do humans have these abilities?" asked Captain Shin's co-pilot. "Because you are the first species in millions of years to develop them naturally. And more importantly, you are the first to use them mainly for protection and cooperation, not conquest." Elder Nixtari explained that most reality-bending species became selfish and power-hungry, but humans seemed to be different. Their abilities grew stronger when they worked together and when they tried to help others. "But there are forces in the Council who will never accept this," warned Elder Nixtari. "War Prime Gran plans to use weapons from the ancient wars. Weapons that could destroy your entire solar system." Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Kang Minji was making an important discovery. She had been studying the energy patterns of human reality bending for months. "Admiral Yoon, I think I've found our weakness," she said. "What do you mean?" "Our abilities are powerful, but they use enormous amounts of energy. Each time someone bends reality, it drains them. If we use too much power too quickly, we could exhaust ourselves completely." "How much is too much?" "I don't know yet, but I'm worried about what might happen if we try to stop something really big, like a planet-killing weapon." Her fears proved correct when War Prime Gren finally activated his ancient weapon. It was a massive machine the size of a moon, hidden in dark space for thousands of years. The weapon sent out waves of energy that locked reality in place. Wherever the waves hit, nothing could be changed. Physics became rigid and inflexible. On human colonies in the path of the weapon, reality guards found their abilities simply stopped working. They could not create shields. They could not heal the wounded. They could not even make light. "It's moving toward Earth," reported Dr. Kang Minji. "If that wave hits our planet, every human will lose their abilities forever." But the weapon was causing unexpected problems. Space itself began to crack under the strain of being locked in place. Stars flickered and went out. Planets stopped rotating. On Nexus Prime, even Elder Nixtari was alarmed. "The weapon is too powerful. It will tear apart the fabric of space-time itself." Delegate Zeph, the insect alien who had always tried to help humans, contacted Captain Shin Yunji. "You must get back to Earth immediately. Your people are the only ones who might be able to stop this." Captain Shin's ship raced back toward Earth, but the reality-locking wave was moving faster. By the time she arrived, the wave was only hours away from Earth's solar system. "We need every reality guard on the planet to work together," said Dr. Kang. "Minji, But I don't think we have enough power to stop something this big. That's when Master Yi Heijin stepped forward. He was an old philosopher who had been studying human abilities from a different angle. Instead of looking at them as weapons or tools, he saw them as a natural part of human consciousness. "We are thinking about this wrong," said Master Yi. "We don't need to fight the weapon. We need to convince reality that the weapon never worked in the first place." "That doesn't make sense," said Admiral Yoon. "Reality bending works through belief and will," explained Master Yi. "If enough humans believe something strongly enough, reality will accept it as true. We don't need to overpower the weapon. We need to make reality forget that it exists." It was the craziest plan anyone had ever heard, but it was their only chance. Master Yi organized thousands of reality guards around the world, but he also asked for volunteers from ordinary people, parents, teachers, children, grandparents, anyone who could add their will and belief to the effort. "On my signal," said Master Yi, "everyone must think the same thing. The weapon was never activated. It never existed. The galaxy is safe and whole." As the reality-locking wave approached Earth, millions of humans focused their minds on the same thought, not fighting the wave, but simply believing it was not there. Engineer Choi Dae-sung felt the combined power of human consciousness like electricity in the air. Dr. Park Ji-woo saw reality itself beginning to flicker, like a TV with bad reception. "It's working," shouted Dr. Kang Minji. "The wave is slowing down." But the effort was enormous. Around the world, people were collapsing from exhaustion. Blood was running from some people's noses and ears. "We're losing too many people," said Admiral Yoon. "We can't maintain this." That's when something unexpected happened. Elder Nixtari and the moderate aliens began adding their own mental energy to the human effort. Then Delegate Zeph and the Nexari people joined in. Soon, beings from half the galaxy were focusing their will on the same goal. The reality-locking wave stopped moving. It flickered like a dying light. And then, as if it had never existed at all, it disappeared. War Prime Gren's ancient weapon powered down and went silent. Across the galaxy, space-time healed itself. The cracks in reality sealed up, but the effort had exhausted everyone involved. On Earth, thousands of people were unconscious. Even the strongest reality guards could barely stand. "Did we win?" asked pilot Bae Ji-hoon weakly. "I think we did something better," said Master Yi. "I think we showed the galaxy what humans are really capable of." News of what had happened spread quickly. The fact that humans had saved the galaxy, including the aliens who were trying to destroy them, made many species reconsider their fears. But the war was not over yet. War Prime Gren was furious that his weapon had failed, and he still commanded a huge fleet. The moderate aliens were gaining support, but the extremists were not ready to give up. The final confrontation was coming, and everyone knew it would decide the fate of both humanity and the galaxy. President Park Dong-hyuk sat in his office looking at messages from across the galaxy. Some aliens wanted peace, others still demanded humanity's destruction. The galaxy was split in half. "Mr. President," said his advisor, "Captain Lee Min-ho is requesting permission to return to Nexus Prime for peace talks." "Is it safe?" asked the president. "Elder Nixtari has promised to protect our delegation. Many alien species are supporting the peace process now." The president nodded. "Tell Captain Lee he has my permission, but send a strong escort with him." At the same time, War Prime Gren was planning one final attack. His ancient weapon had failed, but he still had the largest fleet in the galaxy. If he could destroy Earth completely, the human problem would be solved forever. "Sir," said his officer, "many of our allied species are withdrawing from the war. They say the humans saved the galaxy from the reality weapon." "Cowards," growled Gren. "The humans are still dangerous. One act of mercy doesn't change that." But Gren had made a mistake. By trying to use the ancient weapon, he had reminded everyone of the terrible wars that had nearly destroyed the galaxy long ago. Many species that had been afraid of humans were now more afraid of returning to those dark times. On Earth, Master Yi Heijin was teaching a new approach to reality bending. Instead of using it as a weapon or tool, he taught people to see it as a way to heal and help. "Reality responds to love better than fear," he told his students. "When you bend reality with hatred, it fights back. When you bend it with love, it cooperates." His students were learning to heal damaged ecosystems, help crops grow in barren soil, and even repair the psychological trauma that war had caused in both humans and aliens. One of his best students was a young girl who had learned to make plants grow by singing to them. Another could heal sick animals by touching them gently. These abilities were not powerful in a military sense, but they were changing how people thought about human powers. Captain Lee Min-ho arrived at Nexus Prime with a small fleet of human ships. This time the reception was very different. Many alien species sent representatives to welcome him. Elder Nixtari met him at the docking bay. "Captain Lee, your species has proven something remarkable. You stopped a weapon that would have destroyed us all, even though we were your enemies. We didn't want anyone to be hurt," said Captain Lee. "Not even those who were trying to hurt us." The peace conference lasted for 7 days. Species after species stood up to speak about what they had learned about humans. Delegate Zeph of the Nexari spoke first. "We have watched humans for months. Their abilities grow strongest when they protect others, not when they attack. This is unprecedented." A representative of the energy being said, "Their reality bending is powered by emotion, but controlled by wisdom. They have what the ancient species lacked, the ability to think beyond themselves. Even some species that had been fighting humans admitted they had been wrong. We feared their power," said a delegate from the Crystal, beings of Zeta Prime, "but we should have feared our own hatred more." However, War Prime Gren refused to attend the conference. Instead, he gathered his remaining allies and prepared for a final attack on Earth. "If the Council won't act, we will," he told his commanders. "We will destroy the human homeworld and end this threat once and for all." Dr. Kang Minji detected the approaching fleet long before it reached Earth. "Admiral Yoon, we have a problem. Gren is coming with everything he has left. Over 10,000 ships. Can our reality guard stop that many? I don't think so. We're still recovering from stopping the reality weapon. Many of our people are too exhausted to fight. But humans had learned something important during the war. They were stronger when they worked together than when they worked alone." Pilot Bae Ji-hoon, who had become the leader of all reality guards, made a suggestion that surprised everyone. "What if we don't fight them?" he said. "What do you mean?" asked Admiral Yoon. "Master Yi taught us that reality responds better to love than fear. What if we try to heal their anger instead of fighting their ships?" It seemed impossible. How do you heal the anger of 10,000 alien warriors who want to destroy your planet? But Master Yi thought it might work. "Anger comes from fear," he said. "If we can show them they have nothing to fear from us, their anger might go away." When Gren's fleet arrived at Earth, they found something they didn't expect. Instead of defensive fleets and weapons, they found thousands of humans floating in space without weapons or armor. The reality guards were creating a massive display of human abilities, but not for war. They were showing the beauty of what humans could do. Some were creating gardens of light that bloomed with impossible flowers. Others were painting pictures in space using stars as their brushes. Children were making small animals of pure energy that played among the ships. The most amazing display came from ordinary people who had learned to sing in harmony across space itself. Their voices carried emotions, love, hope, sadness, joy, directly into the minds of the alien warriors. War Prime Gren ordered his ships to attack, but something strange happened. Many of his own warriors hesitated. "Sir," said one of his officers, "they're not fighting. They're just showing us who they are." Through the shared singing, the aliens began to feel what humans felt. The love parents had for their children, the sadness of losing friends in war, the hope for a better future, the fear of being destroyed. For the first time, the aliens understood that humans were not monsters or gods. They were just people trying to survive in a dangerous universe, the same as everyone else. One by one, ships in Gren's fleet stopped moving toward Earth. Commanders who had been ready to destroy the planet found they couldn't give the order to fire. "They're afraid just like us," said one alien captain. "They don't want to hurt anyone. They just want to be safe." Gren himself felt the emotions that the humans were sharing. In his mind, he saw human children playing, human parents working to feed their families, human artists creating beautiful things. "This is a trick," he shouted, but even his own voice sounded uncertain. That's when something incredible happened. Captain Shin Yoonji, floating in space with the other humans, spoke directly to Gren through the mental connection. "War Prime," she said, "we know you're afraid of us. We understand why. Our abilities are strange and new. But look at what we're doing with them. We're not conquering worlds or destroying enemies. We're making beauty and sharing love. Gren tried to resist, but the emotional connection was too strong. He could feel the truth in her words. "Your ancient weapon nearly destroyed the galaxy," continued Captain Shin. "We stopped it not because we wanted to defeat you, but because we didn't want anyone to die, not even you." For the first time in his military career, War Prime Gren ordered his fleet to stand down. He didn't surrender. He simply stopped fighting. The sight of the Korthak war fleet peacefully floating near Earth was broadcast across the galaxy. Within hours, the remaining extremist factions laid down their weapons. 1 year later, Captain Lee Minho stood in the Great Hall of Nexus Prime, but it looked very different now. The hall had been rebuilt as a symbol of cooperation between species. Human architects had worked with alien engineers to create something beautiful that no single species could have built alone. "The Cooperative Council is now in session," announced Elder Nixtari. She had become the first leader of the new galactic government. The old Galactic Council had been dissolved. In its place was something new, a partnership between species that celebrated their differences instead of fearing them. Humans had become known as reality wardens. They helped repair damage from the ancient wars, fixed problems that regular science couldn't solve, and served as peacekeepers when conflicts arose. Dr. Park Jiwoo now ran the first joint human-alien research center. Scientists from dozens of worlds worked together to understand the universe in ways none of them could manage alone. "We've discovered 17 dead worlds that were destroyed in the ancient reality wars," he reported to the council. Human reality wardens working with alien scientists have successfully restored life to 3 of them. Pilot Beijahun led mixed species exploration teams to parts of the galaxy that had been too dangerous to visit before. Places where reality was still twisted from ancient battles could now be healed. Even War Prime Gren had found a new purpose. He led joint military operations to protect peaceful worlds from the few remaining threats in the galaxy. "Humans taught me something," he said in one of his reports. "True strength is not the power to destroy your enemies. True strength is the power to turn enemies into friends, but the most important change was in how the galaxy thought about differences between species," Elder Nixtari explained. It best in her closing speech at the first anniversary of the peace. "For millions of years, we thought the goal was for all species to become the same, to follow the same laws, think the same thoughts, want the same things. But humans showed us that differences make us stronger, not weaker." She gestured to the mixed crowd of beings in the hall. "Humans bend reality. The Nexari process information at incredible speeds. The crystalline beings store vast amounts of knowledge. Energy beings can travel instantly across space. Each species has gifts that others lack." Ambassador Kim Sora, now Earth's permanent representative to the Cooperative Council, stood to respond.